to go from the most dangerous country to one of the safest countries in 5 years. That's pretty impressive. Prison that he built for this, the size of it is crazy. The capacity though of that prison is 40,000. So they're not like over capacity. I'm reading some numbers here as of, looks like June 2024, they have 15,000 inmates in there. Well, imagine you're, traveling abroad and you just get caught up in something that you're not involved in. You just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. Would you rather have gangs going around? I mean, I would prefer the presence of police.
Well, you take the gangs out and now you have the police patrolling the streets, so it just kind of replaces it.
Yeah.
You ever seen that series, Locked Up Abroad?
In 2024, right, there was 1.9 homicides per 100,000. In 2015, it was 103.
Oh,
Holy
wow.
shit. That's a dramatic decrease. 25% is a big amount of questionable arrests. It's a double-edged sword.
Right. I mean, there was some advancement during that time. I'm not saying because of that, but I'm just saying it's during that time it was.
He was a great leader that advanced his society right into the ground. Yeah, pretty harsh time, actually. Germany post World War II was not fun. Most people talk about the U.S. and it's like, oh, we were victorious, right? And there was a lot of advantages actually that happened right after for the U.S., but Germany not so much. They had,
although most of the world during that time was.
Yeah, I think in Germany they experienced a lot of rebuilding, massive destruction, property damage, and but no, I would say overall, to conclude, Hitler's not my favorite person.
Okay.
Yeah.
I hope so.
Yeah, he is not. It sounds like he's not yours either, which is great. Everyone, welcome, by the way.
Welcome. Yeah. Welcome to that.
About the great leaders in history, and for the record, great leaders and dictators in history. And for the record, Hitler, we don't like him. Not a great guy. Not that cool, man. Like, not cool.
Not cool.
Mass genocide's just not that cool, brother. You got to stop that shit. I wonder if anyone ever told him, like, hey, that
maybe not the best idea.
Holocaust thing. Like, can you chill on that?
Aren't there people that believe, like actually believe that there wasn't a Holocaust?
I mean, I think there's definitely the deniers, right? They don't believe it's happening or whatever that might, or it never happened, which is crazy because you just have all this evidence,
right?
And survivor stories, detailed stories, photo evidence.
Yeah, so like
eyewitness evidence. Yeah,
to say that it didn't.
Yeah, I guess they're just trying to bury that in history for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, it should be recognized. It's a hard time.
Right. To recognize so that it doesn't get repeated.
Yeah. History tends to repeat itself, though.
It does.
As we know, as we've seen. It does feel like that sometimes. I don't know if you feel like that, where I kind of just look at some of the global events that I just read about, and I'm like, are we learning?
Right.
From our past?
Right. Or are we just repeating a lot of things from the past? Yeah, there was it's like sometimes I feel like we're learning a little bit, but then there's other times where it's like we feel like it's going backwards.
Right.
Not.
I don't know if it's
like
going
we're
backwards,
advancing, but we're like, not bad. Well, like your sidestep. I don't know. It's like are we learning?
I think we're advancing, especially in a lot of areas. Like a lot of areas we've advanced, but I feel like this does theme into the episode, really, of we choose centralized powers to have a lot of control. And then when things don't go the way of whatever the popular vote or how they want them to go, whatever country you're in, really. And it starts to become, a lot of these countries that consider themselves democracies are now feeling like it's a little too centralized and it feels too dictatory. I don't know if that's a word, but I know the U.S. right now is feeling that way for sure.
Right. And I mean, like when you're in a country where your education system and everything is run by that, so it can like tell the history how it wants and everything. So you're influenced and you're gonna be shaped to be that individual for that
Yeah,
society.
that centralized control, right? It permeates into a lot of areas. Education is definitely, it's like if you have that much control, they're going to want to control the narrative,
Oh yeah,
the history,
yeah, exactly.
to shape people's perception of the country they're in, to get buy-in for whatever next plan they got up.
Right, some sort of power control thing. Yeah.
Yeah, but
But
yeah,
at what point? At what point is it when say a president turns dictator, or just a dictator oversteps their control? You know what I'm saying?
mm-hmm.
Is there a good dictator?
It's a good question, right? It's like, no. I mean, the dictator has like ultimate totalitarian power, right? So it's kind of like what they say is done. And they might call it a democracy, right? It's under the guise of
Mm-hmm.
that. And I'm not saying the US is personally like this, but like other countries. So one we'll talk more about today, El Salvador. El Salvador. And I think it's under the guise of democracy, right?
Mm.
But a lot of the actions they take are usually in what their interest or the interest of the party, right? But I think sometimes they try to muddy the waters a bit of like, oh yeah, there's still a popular vote for things like that. But I think at the end of the day, they make the final decision, regardless of what the people want.
Right. Yeah, no, I could see that. Yeah, no matter, or they could sway the votes, right, to make it look like it's in their favor. Like,
Oh
what is it,
yeah,
Russia? Russia's like 98% Vladimir
always,
Putin.
always. He's like,
Always.
he's just like doing so well, isn't he?
Uh,
98%, impressive every time. He's like, yeah, people like me. What can I
yeah.
say? Yeah, I mean, even going down to potentially changing the laws to be in that person's favor. Bukele did that. So Bukele is
Mm.
the leader of El Salvador, for anyone that doesn't know, and he's been in office for about 5 years now. But that is one thing he did in his. I just learned this the other day when I was reading up on it. He changed the Constitution. I don't know if that's the name of what they call their Constitution, but he
Oh,
changed it to basically allow him to have more than one term.
yeah, I saw that. Yeah,
Is that a democracy? Is the question.
I know, right? That
Did people vote? I don't know. They voted on it. Did they vote on it? Is the question. It sounds like he just kind of did it.
that's what I saw. So I don't know if, yeah, I don't think people did vote on that. So then it's just, and then his popularity has gone down since then,
As
or
of
since
recent, I
this
think it's been as of
last,
the last year. I think it's gone
right?
down among Central American countries. The reason why I'm learning is that, and we'll talk more about kind of his model and what he's done with the country, because there are pros and cons. There definitely is. Like in his defense, to start to defend a dictator, the one thing, or one of the few things I like about him, I think that makes him kind of unique, especially among all the other countries and the typical politician, is that he did say something that he was going to do, a pretty big thing, and he did do it. And
Yeah,
that's pretty
that's
big
that's
for some,
true. He
for
did
a
do the thing
politician.
that the thing that he said he was gonna do. He did,
He did it.
and it was something big that changed the entire country within just a few years. Like, yeah, the dictator, no good, but what he did, I mean, there's some, yeah, like you said, pros and cons and flaws to it, obviously.
Right. I mean,
I mean,
to
but
go from the most dangerous country to one of the safest countries in 5 years. That's pretty impressive.
I thought it was
They
like
had one,
three. It was
or
like a few years.
it was like
Yeah.
a, yeah, it was a few. Yeah, maybe less than five, but like that's impressive to do. Now, let's everyone remember here about El Salvador. Like, I'm going to say it like that every time. The country is the size of basically New Jersey. It's small. It's very small. So when you have a smaller country like that, it is a little bit easier to implement policies and like see them through.
Hmm.
Because that's kind of the big question right now around his model, and we'll talk more on that. But like, can it be applied to other Latin American countries, which is what some of them are looking into? Like, I don't know if it's Mexico, but there's others that are.
Like Honduras and Guatemala,
Haiti's one of them.
Haiti. That
Yeah,
was one.
Haiti's
Costa
bad.
Rica, I think, was one.
Gang violence is really bad in Haiti. Yeah, it goes three. So those kind of countries that are small, I think that model actually could apply, but to all Latin America, I mean, you got, think about South America, man, Colombia, Brazil, Argentina. Those are fucking huge countries.
Right.
Huge. To
Right.
apply that same model at mass scale, I don't know how it would work.
Yeah. Because not only, yeah, it's a small country, but there was really, what, two main gangs that they were
Mm-hmm.
trying to stop, or trying to, I guess, reduce the numbers.
Yeah, reduce the number of violent activities really in the community, because they're in these people's communities. Like imagine in your neighborhood, you just have these people terrorizing the neighborhood, and people don't feel safe. They can't leave their
Right.
homes. They can't do the
Can't go to the
normal,
grocery store. Yeah,
yeah,
you can't even
daily
go
activity, and
outside.
yeah, they could get randomly shot or whatever. And to live in fear like that, I don't know. I but anyway, sorry. What were you saying on that?
Well, like what makes well no, now I'm thinking hold on a sec. Like what makes why were the gangs so rampant? Like what causes that to happen? Is it the
Hmm.
like the poverty and the inequality that kind of fuels that, would you say?
Yes, it's a good question. It's a question that's raised, right? Because there, basically, his model was he just went in and did mass incarcerations of gangs.
Right.
I put that in quotes because there have been evidence of around, because it's a small country. So I think it's either the last year, the last couple of years, or out of the 16,000 arrests, the mass incarcerations, they went to these neighborhoods and picked up every gang member they could find. According to the
Mm-hmm.
data, about 25% of those arrests were actually categorized as arbitrary arrests, where there was no real direct evidence that those people were involved in gangs.
Right.
That's an
So
issue. That's an
it's a
issue.
big issue.
Yes, because those could be innocent people that really there was no
Mm-hmm.
evidence behind, but they may have been in the area. Who knows? They may have been
Right.
have just had tattoos on or whatever, and they go
Wearing the
pick them
wrong
up.
shorts or
20,
something.
25% is a big amount of questionable arrests. That would concern me as a citizen. It's like
Mm-hmm.
you're removing gang violence, and it has become safer. The stats are there, but
Mm-hmm.
who else are you removing that might not be involved in that?
Right.
It's a double-edged sword.
Right. So now people are seeing like more in fear, not of the gangs, because well, they're not really around, but more of the police and the patrolling
That's
or that's
exactly
coming
right.
around.
That's
So it's
exactly
like they've just taken that spot as far as like the fear of like you don't want to interact or be around them because I don't know they could take you. Yeah.
Yeah, they could. And so I think that's the new fear that's
Mm-hmm.
now, because then it's a couple years now into his office, into his term. And, there has been a turnaround, obviously. Is the I think the death rate's gone down. I forget how much. I got to look up the exact
Homicide.
numbers. The homicide,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the homicide rate's gone down so much, and there's been a clear change. But with that extreme action, right, can also come consequence where
Mm-hmm.
you might be imprisoning people that are not involved, and it's like, what kind of say do they have? And you saw footage, right, of his famous prison that he built for
Mm-hmm.
this. I gotta remember the name of it. It's got an interesting name. It's the size of it is crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of disturbing to see though, like with all the just all this all because they just yeah they just push them all in there and
Yeah,
it's pretty sad.
it's called.
Because like you said, not all of them are there's no checks and balances,
Oh,
there's nothing to like plead their innocence if they are, there's just
right.
and they could be in there for years.
Years. Yeah, years. And now, again, I've seen the conditions of other prisons. I've looked at those conditions. It's not great the way they pack them in, and like they kind of pack them in. If no one's seen it, it's kind of like sardines. Really, I think they're handcuffed behind like this, and they have to like lean forward like this. And there's a guy in front of them, and a guy right behind them, and it's just rows and rows and rows of people in that position for a while. That sucks. But the conditions, from what I've seen in the prison, are a lot cleaner than like other ones I've seen. So there is that, at least. I don't know about if those prisoners get, you know how you can kind of get rewarded, right, for good
Mm-hmm.
behavior. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
sure how they do that in there, with that, but it looks like as of,
Or if they do.
yeah, as of, I'm reading some numbers here. As of looks like June 2024, about they have 15,000 inmates in there. In
Jeez.
November, they're expecting it. That obviously that's last year. I'm trying to find some. It's probably more now. The capacity though of that prison is 40,000. So they're not like
Okay.
over capacity. Like the Philippine prison when
Well,
I was telling you on, that's over capacity.
mm. But
So
this one was built like here recently, right? The one in El
it's
Salvador.
more modern. It's more new. It's called I mean, I don't want to butcher it. The Centro de Confinamiento del Terrorismo. It's just
Mm.
like the terrorism confinement center. You can
Uh-huh.
find the terrorists there, and I think it's the size of a couple football fields. It's
Mm.
huge. And the main gangs that he was going after, they're called it's MS. I'm sure you've heard about MS-13. They're out in California too. And then there's the 18th.
Yeah, they're all up in the West Coast. And then what is it? 18th?
18th Street gang. Yeah, Barrio 18.
Right.
Yeah.
Right, which helped him with this model for that country because there was only 2 gangs he had to make a deal with. Is that right? But what was the deal? Because it looks like he's just rounding up all of their...
No, there was a deal. There was a pact prior, apparently, he made with them, and they violated that pact. So he's like, well, all right. So he just builds a fucking huge, prison and
container.
Then, coming on in, everyone. So that's what I respect about him. That right there is that it sounds like he tried to make a peace act, didn't work, and he took extreme action to get to have an extreme result. And when you do that type of thing, we're seeing that in the States right now. We're doing it when you do an extreme action, rounding up all the immigrants.
No,
you're gonna get some of the bad ones, definitely, but you're also getting some of the innocent ones. So.
Yeah, and so you need to, there needs to be some system in place to, like, I don't know, prevent that from happening. I don't know what that is, but like,
that's a
they
good
need
question.
to be able to have a trial or something, right? I mean,
it's a great question. It really is, especially some of these justice systems that are in these countries. They're not. I mean, our justice system sucks, but it's like some of these are really bad where you just don't have any rights.
Right.
Yeah, it makes me question that as well. It's a good question. It's like, how if you were to take extreme action, I do defend that because it sounds like it really benefited the community. They're in less fear these days. You talk to any of the residents, right? A lot of them are in that less fear of that, but then now they might be in more fear because you have a dictator that kind of can make decisions, and it's like, what if he goes after your family member that he thinks might be in a gang? What can you do, right? I mean, they just take him away, and you're like, well, he's not.
Right, yeah. Or you're at just the wrong place, the wrong time, right? And they're just plucking people out of the street. I mean, I don't know, but like, it's when you have, as a dictator, having a dictator, you don't know what direction it can go.
Yeah, you don't know. And
like
so that's
right now, it's been good, but like as it continues, it'll be interesting to see, like, if there's no more gang members or less and less to get, are they just gonna start getting people to fill out numbers, or I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
It's less and less, more than ever. I forget the percentage now, the homicide rate from where I gotta look it up.
Which is great.
It's pretty dramatic.
I mean, that's right.
Homicide rate before Bukele, and so it looks like in 2011 an estimated 22,000 gang members in El Salvador. It's not a big country, by the way, so the population of El Salvador is not that big. Let's see, El Salvador, 6.3 million. That's actually a decent amount. It's not huge. Yeah, gang violence before and after. I'd love to see like a little chart or something. There we go. El Salvador closes with a record low number of 114 homicides in 2024. That's apparently really low. Not all nations have published this, but the 1.9 homicide per 100,000 in population has been achieved. In March 2022, this is interesting that I read about. Apparently, I think there was some sort of, before he got into office or right around, the gangs protested, and there was like a killing spree of 62 people in one weekend. This is the highest they've ever had. That the gangs, like, they just went on a killing spree, basically. And I think that's when he started to take extreme action after that happened.
I see.
But I don't know what it was before. Let's see. I'm trying to find what it was before and then what it's after. They measure it per 100,000 residents. Okay, here we go. In 2024, right, there was 1.9 homicides per 100,000. In 2015, it was 103. Holy shit. 103 per 100,000. And now it's 1.9. That's a dramatic decrease. What would that even be? My God, let me try to. I can do some quick math here. Divide by 100. I think that's if I'm mistaken, that's like a 3,600% increase or a decrease. That's amazing. That's dramatic. That's huge.
Yeah. So it definitely took care of that problem.
Yes, he did.
I mean, if you look at it that way, he definitely the crazy rise in violence that's the year after year was like, it was one of the most violent countries for a
Yeah.
while.
Can you imagine that? Just living there and being in that every day and having to
That would
walk
be,
outside and not knowing if you're going to catch a stray bullet or get robbed, like almost every day of your life to live in fear.
yeah,
So,
that would be, yeah, I can imagine going outside and then you see people just fighting or shooting or, yeah, you're just trying to go for a walk.
yeah, just going for a walk and see some interesting stats as well. It does say over 80,000 people, I guess, in his time frame. I think I said 4,000 earlier. That might have been just this last year, but 80,000 have been arrested over that time frame, often with no due process. So I don't know if those 80,000 were considered like those arbitrary arrests, right, with no evidence. I think they probably included gang members, but I guess the question really is if you're mass incarcerating people, right? Maybe they are
Mm-hmm.
tied to gang violence. They maybe are tied to certain events, but do they deserve due process, right? Like
Right.
everyone else? It's a good question.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I guess I would say, yeah, everybody well, it depends on your country too, right? I guess El
Well,
Salvador,
let's
no,
talk
it's
about
not.
humanity, right? Not just the country per
Human,
se,
yeah,
right?
right. I would say that yes, but then that's a lot of people you gotta like, a lot of people.
A lot of people, clog court systems 3, 4 years before trial. That's what's happening in the Philippines, right? If you go to jail in the Philippines right
Mm-hmm.
now, currently, and you just there, say you're in a cell, not the main like county jail, if you will, it's more like their local detention center. If you have to just stay there, it is a 3 to 4 year wait time before you can even talk to it.
Jeez, so you're just waiting.
And that's when you have a clogged system, right? If they're following the right due process, right? Because you as a citizen you should get due process. Your crime should be assessed, and then a
Mm-hmm.
punishment should be given, not just okay, you're part of the gang, you're in it, and I guess what, life, I don't know how long they're putting them in there for, and you get no
Right.
process. There's no, yeah, that's where I'm like, so there's holes in his system.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that definitely is. And two, have you heard about like other countries, like for instance the US, using his prison as a place to send
The exiles, like from the US,
from a
like,
different, yeah, like, or like another country sending to, because of his, because his prison is like this, new new age, state of the art, secured, yeah, system that we're talking about. So like other countries have talked about using his prison as a way to send their like highest criminal,
yeah.
murderers and whatever.
So that's kind of, you're saying that's happening with other countries where like they're
There
basically
has been talks about it, yeah, and I think the US was, yeah, they've been sending some the immigrants
to this
that
one
they've picked
prison.
up to this, yeah, to this prison.
What is that called? Extradited. You're being extradited
Extradited.
from the
Yeah.
country to somewhere else. Usually it's people that are
But the
extradited.
thing, yeah, but they're usually sent back to their country, but then they're like sending them to other countries that aren't even their
Yeah,
own,
that's a
like
different, because
a
usually
prison.
when you're extradited, you're going from a foreign back to your home country. Here it sounds
Right.
like they're just sending them to this
Yeah,
prison for really anyone in it. I think they're seeing the way they run it and how effective it's been. So that's kind of why they're doing that. They're like, well, this one's they're doing it well. It's a tough one because it's like I'm
yeah,
not
but then
really like
there's been a couple cases where there was a couple innocent sent
being
there,
scared.
and then they had to contact Bukele, the president, in the prison, but they denied them, saying that they're already part of the system in the prison and they can't be let out or whatever, even though
Yeah,
they were not guilty of anything. They just got swept up and sent there.
yeah, that's a nightmare for me, man. Just being swept up with the rest. But and you're like, but I'm not. But I was, and they don't care. They're like,
No,
yeah, you are. You're here. You have no right.
right,
They're not gonna like sit down and listen to you like a guard just coming in like, yeah, let's have a chat about it. So you're innocent
right.
too? I've never heard that.
I think there was a dad that was sent there and
Mm,
the family pleaded, and then I think he actually did get to come back.
mm.
Then there was another one where it was a Latino hairdresser who was sent there, didn't do anything, didn't commit any crime or anything, and I don't think brought him back. I didn't hear
Okay.
the rest of that story, but
What a terrifying. Imagine you're, traveling abroad and you just get caught up in something that you're not involved in. You just happen to be at the wrong place at the wrong time. And imagine going like a foreign prison, having to explain.
oh man, just
That's
explain
terrible.
to who?
Yeah, to
Be like,
no one. It doesn't matter. It wouldn't matter.
eh,
The only thing that can maybe give you advantage is just how you look. You look like you don't look like you belong, right? Because they do
right.
see some of those countries. They see someone like us. They're like money, basically,
Mm,
and
mm,
it's a lot of it's very corrupt. So you can pay your way out sometimes, which is
mm.
nice. Outside of that, though, it's pretty scary. The idea of getting
Yeah.
locked up abroad.
You ever seen that series, Locked Up Abroad?
I've seen bits and pieces of it.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I learned a little bit about the prison systems. I saw one on the Russian one, I think.
Mm,
And I know that there was one where like two girls that weren't from that country. I forget where they went. It wasn't Russia. It was like a Southeastern Asian country, but they
okay.
were like transporting drugs, basically. I forget
That's
where.
what that show was about, but yeah.
Yeah, basically. And they got, there was like, yeah, you're getting locked up. Terrible conditions, the worst conditions you can imagine. The worst conditions, terrible conditions. The best,
Worst of
the
the
best
worst.
prison, the best prison ever. That's him and Bukele. That's when they hang out. They're just like, that's all they do.
Yeah,
They just pal around.
I'm sure.
Just
I'm sure
the
just
great dictators of the world.
the great dictators of the world.
Just have
Yeah,
a,
when you're touting your military by having a parade and on the same day suppressing the other people on the other side of the country for peaceful protest, I think
yeah,
that's a little dictatorship.
pretty
Just
funny, right?
saying.
The
I
irony is
mean,
so heavy there. You're like, come on,
it's
man.
it's
He's like,
like
yeah, I want my parade. They can't have
this
their.
sounds like a North Korea type almost.
Yeah, I wouldn't go that far with
No,
that.
not that
I
far.
think we
But
have
I am saying
there's elements of it, but we do have decent checks and balances because that guy is kind
for
of
now.
crazy. Yeah, I mean one example right now it's perfect that just because I'm more into economics and stuff is like he doesn't like Jerome Powell.
Mm,
Jerome Powell is the head of the Fed, right? And that guy
right,
is
right.
responsible for lowering interest rates, raising interest rates, the money supply, really.
Mm.
But he can't fire him. That's the funny part.
That is fun, and he's the one that picked him too, and then now he's saying that it
Yeah.
wasn't him. But yeah, and then they show.
No, he picked them. He picked them. Yeah.
But
And
he says it was Biden or Obama or someone. He said
no,
it wasn't
he
him.
picked them. He picked them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I
Yeah,
know.
and he wants this guy to lower rates, which honestly, from my point of view, actually we do need to pretty soon,
Mm,
and I think we will in September, which will be good. He wants to lower it by like 300 basis points. It's very Trump. But 300, by the way, that's a 3% cut on the rate. That's a lot. That's a lot. That's like the pandemic times when we did that. That's a lot,
mm, right.
which will just money will flow into the markets and which is good for certain times, but all at once like that, usually not wise. But he wants to basically fire him, but he can't really fire him. There is checks and balances around that. I learned where, there's like a very, 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 very unique situations where he can.
Mm,
But outside of that, his main move would just be to pressure him to resign. That's kind of it, kind of where we're at. And I guess my point is the U.S. does have decent checks and balances. Not every country does.
true. Yeah, this is true. We'll
Yeah,
see as time goes, but yes, for now,
yeah. For now,
there
I don't think
is.
he'll ever be able to make a law. He's got to go through so many different areas just to get the law passed, the House, the Congress, all
Yeah,
this.
and especially with like a federal, um, with Jerome Powell's,
Oh,
because
that.
he can't get he's separate from the government.
Yeah, technically so. He's kind of a separate entity. The Fed is, yeah,
Right.
which is on purpose. It was designed that
Mm,
way because it involves
right.
money. You
Right.
imagine that if like the leader had all control over all the money. Like, can you imagine that? You'd be like, he doesn't have enough. By the way, Trump, he's hurting these days, right? He needs a little
Mm,
more money. But yeah, he would. Imagine him having full control over our money supply.
yeah, no, that would be. Well, he wants to make a coin now, I think, or something, right?
Oh yeah, I can talk
Trump
on
coin.
this. There's a lot going on with him and he's got these different sister companies, basically sister company that are not related to his job in office, and they're under, they're like shell companies in a way. There's a
Under his
lot.
name, his
What's
brand?
up?
Is it like under his
I
name,
think
part of his
so. Yeah,
brand?
I forgot the names of them, but they're run by his sons. They're run by his sons and a
Mm.
few other people, but they definitely are involving. Like he's got his own stable coin now. Did you know that? It's called,
What?
yeah. It's number like, I check the list a lot on the
Number
coin.
47?
It's not 47, but it's actually nearby as far as its market cap. It's
Oh.
just a stable coin, so it's pinned to the dollar, right? But it's a new one. I forgot the name. I think it's called like World Life Coin or something like that. Because he's got a
Mm.
bank now, a bank. It's called something. I should look this up. I watched a thing on it. But basically, what he's doing is people are skeptical of what he's doing right now with he's been such a crypto advocate, right? And he's pushing for crypto,
Mm.
which I am all for sure. But it's been learned that a lot of his policies that he's moving toward, it's coming back to his like other companies, the crypto earnings, right? That he's getting those large gains. So it's not purely to make America, one of the front runners in the
Oh,
crypto.
no. All right.
He's getting back in earnings, which is not a surprise. No one's
No.
surprised. Another interesting fact, just about that, we can go back to El Salvador, but is that of his net worth, which, years and years and years of real estate and all the other things he's done, right? I learned that crypto, as of the most recent couple of years, now makes up about 60% of his net worth.
Whoa.
I know. He learned it
So
recently
he
how
really.
profitable it was, and he started really leaning into it.
Okay. So he just jumped in.
Yeah,
Jeez.
he made money off his meme coins, and now he's passing these stable coin acts, and he's got obviously the Bitcoin treasury they're building for the US, which is cool. And so it's tough. It's tough when you
Yeah.
elect someone like that. They can go a little rogue and kind of start doing things they want to do.
Yeah. Well, luckily he can't control our money system.
Yeah,
Outright.
There's going to be manipulation,
Mm-hmm.
I think,
You got
coming
the
up
Fed
here.
over there doing their thing with the little puppeteer.
They're just raising and lowering rates, trying to get inflation low. Which inflation is low.
Now,
I saw recently. It's not bad. It's gotten down.
right. So now back to El Salvador and like Bukele.
Yeah.
So now he switched them over to Bitcoin back in like 2021.
I think it was 21 or 22. Yeah, when he officially declared it as legal tender, with first country to do it.
Right. So legal tender. Now, like some say that it's good for the country because it's made things a lot easier, more efficient. Instead of taking 3 hours to go pay a bill, it only takes you like maybe 5 minutes now.
Wild, right? And we've both lived in Latin America. We know, we've seen the lines of everything they need to do.
It takes so long to get there, stand in line, and get back. So now
stuff,
right, and everything is in cash. So like Bitcoin can like help transform a lot of the communities there through its application. However, not everybody is using it. It doesn't seem like everybody is. And some would say that it's for the wealthy or for those to get rich off of.
Right.
So there's like kind of that like, is it helping more, or would you say not hurting, but like does just more people need to adopt it and kind of learn to use Bitcoin?
Yeah, it's been cool because to see
it is a learning curve of learning how to use it and how to like apply it to everyday life.
Right. But yeah, you have to use a digital wallet, and luckily they now have like applications that were built. One's called Chivo, where it's just an application that it just holds your balance, kind of like your banking apps. And then in that, it just holds your BTC balance. And then when you go to a store, you want to buy some milk, eggs, whatever, some basics. All it is now is you just take out that app. The merchant has a QR code for the amount that you need to buy, because I think it gets generated each time you go. Like if you imagine you're at a cash register, I think it goes like that, where you get eggs, and then I think the QR code is generated for the amount, or I think it's just a standard QR code, and you just scan it, enter the amount for the whatever you bought, and it's just sent. It's within seconds, and then they receive it, and it's kind of done. I kind of like that. The convenience of it, I think a lot of them do. I think the bigger problem with it is that I think a lot of people thought changing to the Bitcoin standard would just solve their economy. I think that's the issue. it's not solving your economy. It's just giving you a better way to transact, a much easier, more convenient way to transact. The economy is not solved by Bitcoin, in my opinion, at least. You still need to be a country that has a good GDP, like a gross domestic product of what you produce to the world or export out, right, to generate revenue for that country. Just adopting Bitcoin alone is not going to like save your economy. It just might make it easier to operate. That's what I believe.
Right. And so like with that, having Bitcoin, I could see it's definitely made it easier for a lot of people. And some have even said how it's easier to save now, how they can like get paid and then let it sit in Bitcoin, and then over time that money that they don't spend is actually earning them more money.
Yeah, that is kind of the nice part of it. It's not like pegged to like a stable thing. It can fluctuate, but it can go both ways, right? You can also lose money on it. I think as a Bitcoin guy, over time, that volatility that they're experiencing, right? I think that's going to get smaller and smaller and smaller. I think the price will get more and more hardened when it comes to the stability of it. There won't be these wild 20% swings, in 2 or 3 months anymore. I think as institutions have come in, banks, countries, ETFs, I think over time that Bitcoin price will keep going up, definitely, but it won't be the volatility. I think that volatility will go down, which is good.
Good. And so would you say like Ecuador adopting Bitcoin, does it give Bukele more power or control for his country? Or is it
Bitcoin's decentralized? It's not owned by any one person. It's owned by people, but it's not controlled by one person. That's the key here. That's the key.
So that actually frees up so it actually frees up their country from a money system
that's what I like about it. It frees them up from a centralized entity. Like right now we have the Fed. They are a centralized entity that controls our supply. And that supply actually does permeate to all other countries because we are the global superpower still from an economic standpoint. But it's still centralized. It's still controlled by one person. Having Bitcoin, this is what I truly believe for them. I know learning more about how they've adopted in El Salvador, how they use it, people thinking it's going to solve the economic problem when 30% of the country is still in poverty, which is like, that's no good. A third of your people are still struggling.
That was a couple of the things about him, is that it's the poverty and inequality levels that have not been addressed. Like he hasn't even addressed those yet. That's kind of concerning.
To be addressed. If he thinks Bitcoin's going to solve that problem, it's not going to solve that problem.
Right.
It isn't.
Right.
It isn't.
So hopefully that's not what he was thinking, is just like, oh, I'll adopt this and it'll fix everything.
Yeah, it's a step in the right direction. I think as being, crypto, I read about it, I like crypto. I think overall, I think it's so smart that these countries are getting what we call Bitcoin treasuries, where they just have a reserve of just Bitcoin and it just sits there. Because I consider it digital gold. And if this is digital gold, that's what we did before. We had gold, it was in a reserve, and it was backed for our dollars. As we both know, we've talked about, we've gotten off of that standard, that boring standard.
So boring.
Like having
just print more money. Just print more. I want more. Just print more. I just flood it.
I want more, so we need to print more. It's like, no, man, you're going to devalue.
We don't need to have it backed.
Yeah, you're going to devalue
Why have it backed?
So that's kind of what I believe really, is that if we could not go back to the gold standard, but why don't we go back to the Bitcoin standard, not necessarily using Bitcoin as tender on day-to-day transactions. You have Bitcoin as a reserve that backs your normal currency, whether it be the peso, right? Whether that can keep some stability with the everyday transactions and not worrying about it going up and down, because you have this thing that backs your dollars, so to speak. That's what I believe would be the best move. Not using Bitcoin directly.
Is there one currency, or like, would you think Bitcoin can back every currency in the world?
No, I mean, now for the US, I mean, what the US is doing now is they're moving into the digital stable coins now. It's called the Genius Act. which
Mm-hmm.
allows institutions, it's more regulated around what stable coins they can, because I think JP Morgan is trying to introduce theirs. I know that PayPal has already introduced their own stable coin, all of these things, which is good, going digital in that direction. The issue with that is this: if we just continue, we talked about this at the beginning of the podcast, if we just repeat history and just print more of the digital, right? You imagine?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that we have the same problems again, friends. The same stuff. It's not going to change it. Oh, it's digital now. It's fine. We can't inflate the supply. It's like, yeah, you can. You just program it now and then you make more of it. That's what I believe. If we can find some sort of, I don't know where it should be adopted. Starting in the US, I think will be super difficult to do that. Smaller countries would be a great case study. If you can get a Bitcoin treasury that backs, I'm not saying one for one, but backs your currency, that right there is a step in the right direction. As soon as we remove the backing, you just inflate the supply whenever you want. And that's what devalues it. That's why El Salvador has experienced extreme inflation. That's why they changed it. Colombia is really bad. Venezuela is horrible. Argentina is horrible. That's what happens. When you print a lot of it, your inflation goes way, way, way up. I don't know. I don't know if that makes sense for the listeners, but I believe that if we can just switch gold into the Bitcoin as the reserve, but not use it to transact, use some sort of stable coin, whether it be a stable peso or a stable this, but at least it's backed by something. That's what I believe.
Yeah, then every country has their own like stable coin.
Treasury, but it's a treasury that backs the stable coin.
That's backs the right.
Yeah, now you don't have paper anymore. I think it's the backing that where we fucked up, basically, as a country. Which, by the way, when we fucked up with the gold standard, that affected everyone else. They were trading their direct currencies for our dollar because we told them gold is backing our dollar, so we're good. That sucks. A lot of countries traded their own gold, basically. They gave it to the US so we could hold their gold. And then we printed dollars to give to them as kind of like an IOU, but it's backed by gold. That's what happened. I forget. It was in the early 1900s. That was kind of the move.
They just stole gold?
No, they didn't steal it. It was a trade. They traded it.
It was trade. Okay. But then by the time it was depegged from the gold, did they get their gold back?
They did not.
Man.
I know. That's what I have a problem with. That way, you can read about it if you want. It's in a book I'm reading called The Bitcoin Standard. I didn't know any of this stuff until recently. I'm like,
that's crazy.
That sucks, dude. Like, you promised a lot of these countries. So now what's happened is the dollar is kind of the global currency, really, if you think about it, because everyone's trading for the dollar. So now so we dictate that. And so a shift in our economy really does affect the world. That's what scares me. That's what scares me a lot, actually. Knowing what I'm seeing right now over there, where any day things can
going
change.
On?
He can just be in a mood one morning. He's like, 50% tariffs, Africa, whole thing.
Yeah, the whole thing.
Whole thing.
Why
continent. Why not? Why not?
Like, that's a whole continent. Oh, that's just a country. No, it's a whole.
Yeah. Those are some big decisions. Yeah, I think he's going to calm down a little more after he gets the rates cut, hopefully. And that was actually one of Jerome Powell's reservations I learned about not cutting the rates sooner. You know why? One is because of Trump doing all these.
Yeah. I heard that.
He's like, I don't want to cut it right now because it's a lot of uncertainty of these looming tariffs.
Right.
Come on, Trump. It's like, man, sometimes.
Yeah. Like, let's just pump brakes a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like they're kind of closely. I know they're friends, which kind of makes sense. And they both kind of have that type of, I don't know, type A personality, take extreme action. They both got balls. They do. I mean, they do take some extreme action, which is cool to see. I like to have that in a leader, someone that does take action, because some of them pussyfoot around sometimes. I'm like, come on, they do something. But then I question some of the extreme actions they take.
Yeah. Then it's like, okay. There's some extreme actions where you kind of guess or second guess.
But I mean, kind of going back to more of what's going on over there, I think after the last couple of years, it sounds like Bukele's ratings have gone down a bit after people, mainly around the economy. And I also learned that he's kind of from a rich family.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
Yeah, he didn't come from poverty, which I I don't know if that's affecting his lens, as far as the view on what he sees his country, if he doesn't really know what it's like to be in poverty. Right.
Right. Well, he's not addressing it, so I mean, there might be some connection there.
Yeah.
Because he's coming from a wealthy family, so that's what he knows.
That is all he knows. Yeah. So I hope that the power doesn't go too much into his head. I hope I don't know what it would take over there, because I don't think a lot of them have a lot of rights, So small. I can't have small. It's a very, very small country. Miami, right? The city, it's basically the size of like that county there.
The whole
very
country.
Small. Yeah, very small. I also learned it looks like 2% of the entire population of that country is behind bars. It's the highest in the world. So,
and that's
I think a good thing to kind of like wrap up this part really is like a quote I saw was, people used to fear gangs. Now they fear the government.
Yeah. Well, you take the gangs out, and now you have the police patrolling the streets, so it just kind of replaces it.
Yeah. So I guess to any El Salvadorians, people of El Salvador, be careful.
But I will say though, like being in Mexico, I mean, I haven't been to El Salvador. I had a chance in like 2015, and I was like, no, I'll pass this time. It's pretty violent at the time. But yeah, in Mexico, like when you're in this, like, in the city or the streets, walking around, you'll see a lot of police patrol the streets, and they'll have their lights on, but no siren or anything, and they'll just patrol real slowly, and they'll just be going by. But it's very common to see that on a day-to-day thing, that it's not like, you don't feel like, oh, it's the police, right? It's just kind of like you just see them doing their thing, and they don't really bother you or anything. And as long as you're not doing anything bad, it's fine. And there doesn't feel it does. I would rather see that than like gangs going down the streets.
Right. It's a little more terrifying to think about.
Right. It is. Yeah. So like seeing that, it's actually kind of like gives you, I don't know, a sense of like, okay, like it's being patrolled. It's not, there's no danger or anything.
Sense of relief, comfort, Yeah, there's like
and it's more in those touristy areas I've noticed. You'll see that.
Yeah, I don't know.
More so.
But yeah, I would imagine so. They're going to protect the tourists, right? That brings in a lot of money for their economy, which is important. We saw that in Mexico, right? All the time, man. Being in like touristy areas, you just see Humvees with guys with like submachine guns and full gear, and you're like, where are you going, man? Like, is there?
And it's like, it's like 100 degrees and 100% humidity, and they're just in black, just head to toe, just with the turret thing, just like standing there.
Amazing. Yeah. So I guess that's a good point. It's like, what would you rather have, right? Would you rather have that or gangs going around? I mean, I would prefer the presence of police. It's just, how far would those police go is the question.
Right.
And what's their discernment? Like, do they have judgment, or do they just see a guy with a few tattoos and they're like, gang member? Like, how does that work? Because that's scary.
It is very scary. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this was interesting. Lots going on here with his kind of experiment, right? Started in kind of 2021. It's going okay. I think overall the country's still in poverty, the majority. Bitcoin's a step in the right direction. I really do think it is, compared to just regular inflated paper that was running around before. But adopting Bitcoin alone, I think, won't solve that problem. You really need to start producing more as a country. What you can do, I consider countries just like businesses. They're just not bringing in enough revenue, really. Like, their GDP is just low. So you got to bring in more revenue. Maybe outside sources produce more goods that can attract foreign investment. That's another way, right? Bring in new foreign investors to invest in the country. It's a great way to bring it in. Taxes, that's another way, but that's a slippery slope in itself.
Yeah.
What are we going to tax? Okay, we're going to tax the people. That's cool. Let's get some more money in. What are we taxing them on? One. And two, the dollars we bring in for the taxes, are we going to use them for what we say that we were going to do? And I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know about that either. Maybe a little bit, and then a little bit over here.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, I mean, I guess these still trying to kind of figure out this last part, really, of this episode here. We can always end on a serious note. I don't really want to, but we do dive into some interesting stuff. But I don't want
Does
people
get
to think
interesting.
that we're just serious dudes all the time. Only talk about that. We like to mix it, people. Have a little fun in between.
I do.
But yeah, we're
to...
still kind of workshopping this last part of the episode, right? Trying to figure out what would be good.
Yeah. If
Yeah,
you were a dictator, what would you do?
yeah,
How would you be?
that's a good one. Let's do a what if.
Yeah.
We'll do a what if
What
for
if
a
you
little
were
bit.
in a
What if
world where
I
you
was
were,
personally?
yeah, if you were a dictator, what kind of dictator would
Man,
you be?
first off, I think I don't want to put myself in a position of full control. That's the first thing. I know I'll make decisions based on whatever, and they might not be always the correct decision. I would love to have a series of checks and balances, which is kind of funny to say. Most people don't probably think that way, or maybe they do. I don't know. But for myself, I would like to have other people that I have to consult with, and I can't be the only one that makes the decision. There's got to be multiple to sign off on it to become a bill. That's if I'm a dictator.
Okay, so you're not sounding like very much like a
I know.
dictator
Well,
then.
that still is a dictator. Like if you have a dictator and you have a group of friends that all have to make a decision, then you're a dictator. You're not asking the people what they want.
You're just asking your friends.
Basically, that's the first thing. If I was a dictator, I would rather prefer. Yeah, centralized leadership is important, but a democracy is very important. I love the idea of a decentralized government where there really is no one entity. It's just basically everyone needs to vote on the thing, and the majority rules. I know that'd probably be way easier, or it sounds easier said than done to implement, but wouldn't that be nice that people can just vote, whether it be at a ballot, which I don't agree with either. I believe in on-chain voting, like verifiable ownership on the blockchain of people actually voting that way. So there's no fucking around with ballots, stuff like that, because there's a lot of scams in that area. But that's what I would want. If I can move any government more toward decentralization, if I had that power, I would want to do that first. How would I do it? I don't know. But I love the idea of decentralization because we've just seen over time when someone's in power, one person or one party, this is where it gets dangerous. Does it not?
That's when it's all centralized and just into one group, one core. Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It gets very dangerous.
Yeah, one
you
core
only
group of
have
people makes the decisions, right?
yeah.
It's tough because you do need a leader. People love a leader. You do. There needs to be that talking head, that centerpiece that people can look at and believe in. I think there is power in that. But man, when you give that person too much power, or
and
even
become
not
like
him
idolized.
Yeah, idolizer, not even him most powerful, like because they still game the system. Even now in the US, they game the system. Like Trump games the system. He's gaming it right now with passing laws around crypto, and on the back end, he's making money over there in his shell companies, essentially. It's like he technically can't do that, but he found a loop.
There's a lot of things that he technically can't do that he's been doing.
Yeah.
And he just finds the loopholes to be so like yeah. He kind of seems dictatorship, does he not?
He has that about. He wouldn't be considered one, but he definitely has that about him. So I don't know. I guess that's a good question. Really, it's like would I be? I wouldn't. I don't know.
You wouldn't be one.
I would love to figure out a way where where everyone can have a say equally. I think there should still be someone in power, a leader, but they wouldn't have all the power because it always ends up that way where the money just tends to always trickle up to the ones in power, no matter what they say, whatever their campaign is. And then that income equality, like we talked about in the other episode, just gets further and further away. The middle class is just down here, lower class, and
it gets further and further. Yep. And they just exponentially go.
Exponentially.
And the lower middle just kind of stay around the same it doesn't really.
Yeah.
It seems a little off.
A little bit off. But yeah, I think we'll keep workshopping this and we'll make it a little more fun, a little more. I don't know what we'll do yet, but we'll keep working it out.
Yeah, we'll figure something out.
Yeah, we'll figure it out, friends. The next it's going to be pretty interesting. We're going to kind of dive into the obesity epidemic. Needs to be talked about today. It's worse than ever. in America especially, but not just America. It's been happening in the UK as well, and they're kind of tying a lot of it back to frequency of fast food restaurants in these areas.
Mexico as well is pretty bad, is it not?
Mexico's gotten worse, yeah, which is interesting. So we're gonna dive more into that on the next ep and kind of just figure out what's really going on. It's the highest it's ever been in the history, the obesity rate in the U.S.
In the obesity history,
the annals of
history of obesity.
yeah, but it is the highest it's ever been. Which
I mean, but because it's a new thing, though. I'm just saying, it's a new thing.
And yeah, we'll be diving more into that history of it, how we got to where we're at, and it should be a good one.
Yeah, I want to see. When was the first obesity case?
Oh, we'll find that out.
We'll figure that out. All right.
Until next time, friends. See ya.